I'm here today with a very special guest, Megan Nets with the Woolen Wagon. And that's a kind of a tongue twister for me. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you.
Megan, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I am 20 years old, and I'm a college student at the University of Findlay studying children's book illustration and graphic design.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. And tell me about, I know you do sculptures with felt, so tell me a little bit how you got started into that and how long ago that was.
Okay, I got started in August of 2012, and I was just looking for something to do before school started back up. So I was looking for a new craft, and I found it online. And so I ordered the supplies, and I just kind of experimented until I figured it out.
So you learned everything by yourself, or did you later take some courses?
Yeah, I taught myself initially, and then I started watching videos online to help me develop a little bit more.
What do you find interesting about wool and felting?
I think my favorite part is that it's natural. I love animals and I love nature, so it's a fun way to combine art and nature into one thing. So I think that might be my favorite part.
Most of your pieces, are they animals?
Yes, most of them. I've only made a few non-animals, but I do specialize in animals.
That's cool. That's exactly what I do. It's always an animal of some kind. This week I'm trying fish, but it's always an animal. Show us some of your pieces, please.
Okay.
So people can get a feel of what you do.
Yeah, this is my first one that I have. It's a giraffe that I made over Christmas break.
That was the first one?
No, this is just one I made over my Christmas break. I don't have my first ones. I've already sold them. But when she's standing up, she's approximately 18 inches tall. And this is her posed lying down because the buyer of her would like her laying down, so I already have her posed that way. And then I have a dog here that I made for somebody. It's a Boxweiler, which is a Boxer and Rottweiler mix.
Beautiful.
That one. And then I have a hedgehog here. And this might have been the most time-consuming one I've made because I had to make each quill individually on him.
And you needle felted the curls, or did you wet felt?
Well, not really either. I just took the wool and I put wax on the tips of the wool, beeswax, and then I felted it in there.
Wow, nice. Do you usually do only needle felting, or do you mix with wet felting?
I've never tried wet felting, but I really like to learn. That's my adventure, I guess. I've only ever needle felted.
For 2 years now, you're needle felting, and it looks like you also you are making a business out of this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a store that you sell? How do you sell that?
I sell on Etsy. If you search the Woolen Wagon on Etsy, it should come up. And I also have a Facebook page that I take orders off of, the Woolen Wagon on Facebook.
Tell me one thing, in your marketing part of your business, it is a new business, right? Because you've been felting for 2 years. You use the Facebook page. Do you use anything else other than that, or?
Not really. That's not really my specialty. The business aspect of it is not very. I'm not very good at that part, but I just try to do Facebook a lot, and I'm not on any other social media except for Pinterest. But
when people interact with you, Megan, on for example, Facebook, are there some questions that you get over and over and over again that you would like to talk about?
A lot of people just don't know what needle felting is, I guess. They think they use yarn. Like, I get that question a lot. Like, what kind of yarn do you use? I guess just educate people about what needle felting is, because a lot of people don't know. It's just, I think it's a very unique craft, and it's still newer. People don't really know about it.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because it's very fun, but it's not something that we find people doing all the time. I like to go to a storytelling festival that we have here in Utah every year, and one of the things I do is keep needle felting while I'm listening to the stories, and a lot of people, they always come, and they have no idea anything about this craft. Do you see the same thing happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people don't know the value of it and the time it takes. too, since they don't understand what it is. They don't know how long it takes to make a sculpture or the time that's involved.
And so you're talking about value. How what is the process that you go through to decide how much your sculpture is going to be?
Basically, I just go off of the detail of the animal. Like on the giraffe, the spots took a long time because I needle felted each spot individually, so that was a lot of detail. And also the size, because that usually indicates how long it will take. So each one I price individually based on the time it takes and the amount of detail in it.
So you put a value on your hour and then you times that, right?
Yeah.
And for example, the giraffe, how long did it take you to finish from concept to the final thing, the final?
I don't know exactly the hours, because I don't keep track of that, like exactly, but probably about a week and a half, like working on it on and off.
Like you work an hour a day or so, or more than
Probably
that?
like 5 hours a day.
5 hours a day. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Your sculptures, you know, each needle felter is different. So do you like them very stiff as sculptures? Are they more fluffy?
Well, I felt over a wire armature, so it has to be. I can't just go super tight, so you can bend the.
Oh, she stands then.
Yeah, she can bend.
Nice.
All of her legs and her neck can bend, so I can't go too firm or they won't bend.
Mm-hmm.
This might be a better one. It's just smaller, so like I can make the dog sit if I wanted to.
Do you know the gauge of the wire that you usually use for your sculptures?
Well, the bigger the animal, the bigger gauge. Usually between 14 and 12 gauge is what I use. So now, let's see.
And you make some very cool birds. Do you have any one of those birds around you?
I don't have one finished, but I have one started that I just started last night. I'm gonna make a crow. So
wow.
He's in rough stages right now.
Uh-huh.
So you can kind of see the armature still on the wings that I have.
Very pretty. Where do you see this going for you? Do you think it's going to be a hobby, or do you want to make a business? Do you think you could make a living out of needle felting? What are your thoughts?
That'd be great. I love it so much. But I'm a children's book illustration major, and so I'm hoping that maybe I can use the felted animals as part of my illustrations.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Do you have other friends that needle felt as well?
Nope, I'm the only one I know.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
How many sculptures in a month do you make?
Anywhere between, let's say, like 5 or 10 maybe. Depends on if I make a big one or little ones. I usually can make 1 or 2 a week.
Uh-huh. You say you're selling on Etsy. Do you see as a good place there? And with that said, do you participate in the Etsy community at all or not?
I do. I love Etsy. It's a great place to sell your work. I don't participate in a lot of the teams or anything like that. So I guess I'm not part of the actual community, but on Facebook there's a lot of Etsy people on Facebook, and so you can kind of get in the community that way.
Okay. When you're working on your pieces, do you work on only one from concept to end, or do you usually you start one then you start another? What's your creative process? And another question in that, do you start with a drawing or not? Just your imagination.
Well, I don't start from a drawing, but I research the animal before I start. I look at the skeletons and I look at the fur patterns. So I look at pictures before I start. I prefer to do start to finish, do it from start to finish. But if I have an order, like I just finished an order for 3 different birds, so I made all of the skeletons or the wire armatures all together so they're the same size, and then I started each one.
Okay. Anything else you think people would like to know about your craft or your art or about needle felting?
I think they need to know that it's really a lot of fun. It's very forgiving. If you make a mistake, you can just take it off and then start over. You can manipulate it a lot. So it's good for beginners and it's good for more advanced artists. And it just takes a lot of practice.
Do you plan to put your pieces in galleries? Have you ever been approached by any gallery?
I haven't been approached by any, but I would be open.
Hey, galleries out there. She's you know, when I look at your pieces, they look very intricate, they're extremely beautiful. So many people might be watching and say, "Wow, you really have to be a major in some type of arts to be able to do that." But what you're really telling me is that you decided to try, you watched some videos, and that was the beginning of it, right? And then the rest was basically practice. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep, it's all, you just have to look at the animal you're trying to make and then just try to mimic the shapes that you see into wool.
Cool. Megan, if people want to know more about you or they want to get one of your pieces, where they should go?
If you go to Etsy.com, that's ETSY. If you search the Woolen Wagon in the search bar, my shop should come up, and then that's where I have all of my current pieces, and you can also, people can request a custom order there. And then I also take orders on Facebook on my Woolen Wagon page.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here. Do you mind showing your pieces once more before we go off?
Here's the dog. And then here's the giraffe.
That giraffe is really impressive. Very pretty.
Thank you. And then the hedgehog. And these are the only ones I have right now.
What is the wool that you use the most?
Well, I use a lot of core wool, which is, I buy it online, and it's actually a blend of different types of wool. Okay. So it's really springy. I usually like to use crimpier wool. I don't really like to use wool.
Okay.
Like I don't use a lot of merino or stuff like that.
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much, Megan, for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.